In every particle of the universe, there is that which is wanted and lack of it. And you did not say from your non-physical perspective, well, I'll wait till they get it all cleaned up and then I'll go forward. Because even though I can focus, I don't like to. I like to just observe what is. So it would go better for me if a perfect world would happen. So you guys get the perfect world going and then call me when you're ready for me. And then I'll just pop in and I'll say, good job. And we say, not one of you saw it that way. Every one of you knew that this environment of diversity is the perfect world. Because you understand the eternal nature of your being. And you know that no one can come to a new conclusion of improvement without mixing it up with some of what is not wanted. And most important, you know that the moment that the new desire is born, that all of the resources of Source actualize around it, setting up a vortex of attraction for the absolute creation of the improved world that you see. The question is, where are you today with the thought that you're thinking in vibrational relationship to this improved world? If you're up to speed with it, you're flying high. You feel elation, you feel invigoration, you feel clarity, you feel love, you feel appreciation, you feel joy, you feel interested. But if you're not up to speed with this world that you are creating, with this vibrational escrow that is as real as the chair you're sitting on, if you are not up to speed with this vibrational escrow, if you feel like you don't have enough money, if you feel discouraged like there's not enough for you, if you're worried about the economy or worried about where you are or mad at somebody because you think they put you there or mad at yourself that you haven't done better, if you are upset about not having enough money, even though your vibrational escrow is full of money, you can't get yourself to it, not because everything in the universe isn't spinning as law of attraction is creating a vortex and drawing all that you've asked for to this center point. We call it your point of attraction, including you. If you don't let yourself go, you can't go. So how could you prevent yourself from being drawn into the gravitational pull of this vortex that is the new and expanded version of you? What could you possibly do that would keep you from going? Continue to complain, continue to talk about how it is, continue to make yourself so actively involved in the opposite of what you want that you hold yourself vibrationally out of range. You can't set your radio dial on 6:30 a.m. and hear what's being broadcast on 97 FM. The frequencies don't match up. You've got to be in the vibrational vicinity. So how do you become someone who's in the vibrational vicinity of your vibrational escrow? How do you do that? You want to feel good, and you reach for thoughts that feel better. But the most important thing that we want to say, and we'll talk about this all day here today, is that don't ask yourself to make the jump all at once. Make the jump gradually. Esther turned her bathtub on this morning. It's really an interesting thing, how it works. She pulled the knob out and cranked it to where she thought she was and filled the tub, and when she put her foot in, it was really hot. Far too hot to get in. Way too hot to get in. So she turned it all the way to cold. And then she could hardly stir it because it was so hot. She could hardly put her hand in the water. It was too hot to stir. At first it was too hot to stand. She figured out what to do about it. Put her hand into the cold and stirred, and put her hand into the cold and stirred, and put her in. And then pretty soon she could stand to put her hand in the water. And then it became comfortable enough that she could get in. And we want you to understand that you want to work on a dilution ratio with your own vibration. In other words, sure, you might have been focused upon something that caused you to turn the knob and get yourself in a place that you really don't want to be. You might have been activating your vibration that's far from who you are and what you want, based upon what you've been observing or what you've been hearing or what you've been living. We just want you to know that you have the ability, little by little by little by little, to dilute your negative thought with more positive thought, to speak more often of what you do want and a little less often of what you don't want. And because we know law of attraction to be as it is, we know that every effort that you make brings you closer and closer to who you really are and what you want. You just have to begin telling the story of your life the way you want it to be. So we've been describing to many of you, and some of you are really getting the picture that you were source energy and that you are source energy, and that from that source energy perspective, you sent the perspective that is you into this human body. And now you are here with this perspective, which does not have to be separate from that perspective, but often is. The day you were born, it split just a little bit because you began to be aware of the fear of those who surrounded you. Your mother worried about you for 9 months before you were born, and now you're here, she's really worried about you. And you could not help but feel that, just like walking into the room that we were talking about. You walk into the room and you can tell somebody's offering a vibration that's not a match to who you are. That's why babies cry when they're born. Not just because someone slaps them. In other words, it's a little awkward to come from pure positive energy into this soup of resistance. So here you are, you come forth, and you can hardly put your foot in the water, it's too hot, but the dilution begins to happen and you begin to feel a little more acclimated to it. And the longer you live in your physical form, the more you know what you don't want, so you know what you do want, and the more your personal perspective begins to kick in, and you begin to set forth your rockets of desires, usually unintentionally because you are new to it. And even when you're adults, you don't consciously acknowledge what you do want. Usually when you acknowledge what you don't want, it's just, it happens. You cannot know what you don't want without knowing what you do want, because you've activated a stick that has two ends on it, you see. So now you've given birth to these rockets of desires, and this vibrational escrow is forming. And we want to call your attention to this because this is, from our perspective, the most important aspect of the reason for your beingness. This is what your life creates. Your life in your physical form creates this vibrational escrow. And why is that important? Because everything that is manifested that you think is important as life is first vibration. Everything that you know in your physical world that you hold dear, everything that you call reality, all of it, every bit of it was thought first. So this vibrational escrow that you are creating is this constantly amended version of life. And you have your individual vibrational escrow, you have your collective vibrational escrows, you have your mass consciousness vibrational escrows, but the energy that comes forth, that is the new, all spirits that come forth into the physical bodies again and again and again, all come forth from this vantage point of this leading edge beingness. So, for example, you are born in this physical body, you're banging around, you could have all kinds of trouble and in the process give birth to all kinds of rockets of desires for improvement. And you could be, like many humans are, you could be such a realist and so aware of what is, that you could hold yourself most of the days of your life in vibrational discord to the better world that you had created. But when you have your what you call death experience, which we lovingly and mockingly, since there is no death, call your croaking experience, when you have that reemergence into non-physical experience, you immediately become all that life has caused you to become. And it is from that vantage point that new energies come forward. That's why generation after generation life gets better on this planet. That's why lifetime after lifetime you have the experience of becoming even more physically focused and imbued with the non-physical energy. You just become more and more blended. Life does not get worse on this planet. Life gets better. This leading edge is always the best it has ever been. And what's coming next is even better and even better. You were willing to expose yourself to this contrast because you knew so well the value of the contrast and its providing of the eternalness that you know that exists in what you call eternity. In other words, in eternity, there has to be expansion, you see. So, you're all queued up for it. You knew that you wanted it. And what we're here to visit with you about is to help you be consciously aware of the vibrational gap between the thoughts that you're thinking here in your physical human form today about whatever you're focused upon and the thought that the source within you is thinking about same. Now that's really important. That means that in every moment that you are consciously focused, source within you is peering through you and has an opinion of what you are seeing. Think about that. Source knows who you really are and what you really want. Source is that within you. So can you feel how when you're hating someone and Source is loving someone that there's a difference of an opinion going on? Can you see how when you feel unworthy and the source you feels worthy, there's a difference of opinion going on? This is the thing that we want to demonstrate in a way that you will always remember. This vibrational escrow, which is the constant becoming, new and expanded, improved version of you, of you, of you. As law of attraction responds to that, there is a vortex that is created that equals a point of attraction that you will experience eventually. Many of you will have to croak to do it. But you will experience the result of your expansion eventually. We're here because you've been asking how you can experience your expansion up close and personal while you're still in physical form. And that's what we call the art of allowing. The art of allowing me in my physical human form to not only live the contrast which causes the expansion, but then live the allowing which allows the expansion. So in simple terms, this is a seminar about how you can keep up with you. And we want to say in simple, loving, and rather blunt terms, if you want to be happy, you've got no choice other than to keep up with you. At first, just point in the direction of you. That's enough. If you point in the direction of you, you'll feel fine. It's only when you point in opposition of you that you feel bad. When you point in the direction of you, you always feel better. Just like if a river is moving very fast and you put your raft in and go with the flow, it's much better feeling than if you turn it upstream and try to paddle against the current. So, we'll talk all day today about anything that is important to you. And it is our desire to assist you in getting turned downstream. Downstream toward the inevitable. Oh, we want to shout that word so that you can feel it, but shouting doesn't help. The inevitable, the inevitable, the inevitable joyous becoming of you. We don't understand why you're putting it off. Why would you hold a thought of discord and prevent yourself from now being who you are? Sometimes Esther will look at a child and she will feel the fullness of that child so powerfully that Esther will know the well-being that that child knows, and she will remember, because that child has influenced it within Esther, the well-being that is at the heart of that which she is. As she stands before you in this format, tuning herself to the vibration of Abraham, she is standing in that vibrational escrow, the vibrational escrow that has been set forth by that which she is and that which Jerry is, lifetime after lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. All that they have lived for as long as any of us can remember has been set forth to this point of receiving this information. And when she releases resistance and allows herself to stand here and be this, the experience is sublime. And it is our wish for all of you that you achieve vibrational alignment with that which is your vibrational escrow. It is our desire that you get up to speed with you, that you see your world through the eyes of Source, that you be Source in physical form, and that you don't freak out in any moment that you're not doing it, because you have the ability to begin doing it anytime you decide to. You just got to want to feel good and lean that way. Good. Now you know everything we know. Everything that matters. There is nothing that we could ever give you that would add to your understanding of who you are, why you're here, what you're about, and how to be joyfully successful. And those words are synonymous in our expectation. We want you to understand that joy and success are one and the same, because there is no void that you want to fill that can be filled with anything other than your alignment with who you are. When you are tuned in to the vibration that is you, and you are offering one signal, not a split signal, which is what happens when you're upset about something. One signal, which is what you offer when you are in your joy and appreciation. When you offer one signal, you are influential, because you have the resources of Source. When you are in vibrational alignment with who you are, you've stepped inside that vibrational escrow. And that vortex that has the energy of Source and law of attraction working on it is now the power behind your creation. Can you feel that? Why would you ever want to step outside of that energy into something over here?